So India as a global supply chain talent provider, and herein we have this conversation between a moderator and a panelist positioning India as the world talent hub for logistics, ports, aviation, warehousing and digital supply chain. I invite first the moderator to be kindly taking center stage, Shri Prahlad S. Chaudhary, the senior HR leader at Jindal Stainless, currently serving as head and vice president human resources, having extensive experience in corporate and manufacturing, HR, organizational development and transformation initiatives. Our panelist, Mr. Rajiv Bharadwaj, the member personnel at Prasar Bharati, bringing over 35 years of experience in the public sector enterprises with deep expertise in HR, in organizational development and strategic leadership. Mr. Jayant Krishna, the former ED and CEO, National Skill Development Corporation, a very respected skilling ecosystem leader who has played a pivotal role in shaping India's workforce development and industry-aligned training initiatives. And joining us is Wing Commander retired Kanak Mishra, AVP World People Solution, a disciplined leader with a defense background. Now she's driving talent solutions and workforce strategies in the corporate sector. So welcome to all the panelists, and I request our moderator and hand over to Mr. Chaudhary.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all. So it's a very interesting topic for us to give our perspective to all of you. India as a global supply chain talent provider. So I am blessed to have a elite panel with me. Mr. Rajiv Bharadwaj, he is a well-known name in HR fraternity, and now he is a member of HR in Prasar Bharati. Mr. Jayant Krishna, former CEO, ED and CEO of National Skill Development Corporation, and Wing Commander Kanak Mishra. So I have experience and young, so it's a mixed panel, and we will try to give you the perspective how India can exploit this opportunity of being the global supply chain talent provider. So I will start with the, we decided to move into this discussion into three parts. One is the challenges ahead. When we say we are the global talent provider, so there would be a lot of challenges. So what are the challenges? So I will request my colleagues on the panel to start the discussion on the challenges ahead. So anyone can initiate the discussion, please.
Yeah, I think it's a very relevant question you have started the panel with. That what are the global challenges, what are the challenges in India when it comes to talent for the logistics industry? So, we have recently seen, the West Asia crisis, the Middle East crisis, how it has, and the Strait of Hormuz closure by Iran, how it has thrown the entire logistics out of gear, and, how vulnerable logistics industry is. The entire world's almost 33% of the crude oil, the entire world's supply used to happen through this strait, So I think the geopolitical tensions that you see before that, or maybe even now it's still not over, the Ukraine and Russia war, or various tensions that you've seen in Israel, Lebanon, they all contribute to a huge amount of geopolitical risks that you have. Other challenge which I see is, automation and robotics, 3D printing, these kind of technologies have been ushered in the logistics industry in a very, very big way. Especially in India, if you look at, you have a very fragmented industry. The economy of scale is there only with a very, very few players. And a larger part of the entire value chain, we talk about supply chain in logistics, but the supply chain of logistics industry itself is in the informal and unorganized sector, with small vendors having trucks, having small warehouses of suboptimal capacity and so on and so forth. So that's a big challenge. Also, globally, if you look at, a lot of protectionism that you see happening all across, in the sense, we have seen trade wars, with the US triggered more than a year ago. It is still not settled fully. And a lot of countries, which are raising their tariffs to protect the domestic industry. So these are forces which actually do not help logistics industry to go beyond where it is right now. Another thing, we all order food through Swiggies and Zomatos and a lot of instant supply that we believe in. I mean, there's nothing wrong, but this very, very consumer-driven kind of a model that you see today, it adversely affects, economy of scale of warehouses, and, it fragments the entire supply chain to a very, very large extent. So I think, these are, to my mind, the major challenges. And of course, last I wanted to cover from a global perspective is the emergence of e-commerce in a very, very big way. So, what is happening in e-commerce, where the national boundaries are ending and one nation's boundary ends and the other nation starts, tracking the entire transaction, looking at the taxation, levies, and so on and so forth, it is becoming very, very difficult in a global perspective. I just wanted to add a couple of more challenges from an Indian perspective. As I said, there's an absence of very large players. It's very, very fragmented industry. Almost 95% of the industry is for, the players. If you look at India itself, close to almost 3 crore people are directly or indirectly deployed in logistics industry. It's not a small sector we are talking about. 3 crores out of a population of 140 crores. It's huge. But the irony is 95% of them are in the informal sector, unorganized sector. So these jobs are not aspirational, unless you are a part of the large thing. And also government has done its bit, National Skill Development Corporation, the organization that I used to work for, it created a logistics sector skill councils. They have rolled out 57 job roles. And, if you look at last 10 years, 10 years back, the total employment, direct and indirect in logistics industry was about 2 crore. Now it is 3 crore. Last 10 years, 1 crore people have been added. And next 10 years, about 1.5 crore new people will be added. But most of them come to the industry without any formal training, without any, backing of any qualifications, and so on and so forth. So I think it is important that we embrace, the frameworks which are available, and it is also important for industry.
Mr. Krishna, we will come to that point later on.
Just last line I wanted to say, industry has to embrace. See, you can, through a prism of timelessness, we can keep blaming the government for not doing this, not doing that, right? But industry has to take a far greater ownership, for skilling of people using their own funds or CSR funds. They are the best people who know what job roles are required, what kind of training is required. Industry is a very, very distant player today. So that's where I wanted to end.
Thank you. Thank you. I will request Rajiv sir to give his perspective on the challenges. Rajiv sir, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My colleague panelist has given a very wide perspective. And if we see during the last 5 years, within a span of last 5 years, there has been 2 major incidents. The first, the COVID, and now the geopolitical war. These 2 things has completely changed the manpower deployment aspect. As a globalization thing, I'm telling. See, COVID has created a new way of working in the Gen Z. That is work from home. Right now in the Western country or in the information sector, if you say a person that you are required to come 5 days in a week full time in the office, they are not going to accept your job, whatever you pay. So when the IQ is that level, the challenges are on the both sides. Now with this war, what has happened? The word globalization, which came in the mid-90s, it is going back to deglobalization in the present scenario. So there, many people have not been able to recognize it, but it is in the pipeline, from globalization to deglobalization. Because what was the globalization? It was a horizontal integration. Earlier, whatever the company used to do, they used to go for vertical integration, maximization of their strength. So there were in-house manpower development. In the horizontal integration, what happened, they started getting the manpower from the different part of the world. So the manpower goes to that part of the world which they think it was secured and better paying. That myth has been blown off with the Middle East becoming insecure like anything. The whole thing which they were thinking that it is secured. So largest, India has a demographic dividend of manpower, and whatever the technology intervention may come, the technology can only replace the rule-based processes. It cannot replace the hard manual activity. So India's biggest demographic dividend was we were exporting hard skilled manpower. Say for example, plumber, plumbing, mason, this kind of work. So we were just thinking to have a multi-skilling in one person who can deliver more than one activity at one time. This increased the productivity of the man and the earning capacity also. So now the focus is, with this disturbance, geopolitical disturbance, and the Gen Z preferences, I think from exporting the manpower against the things are changing, we will have a large requirement within our country itself. This we will start perceiving in the next 6 to 7 months. And this is the time where we can go for scaling and all this thing, so that we can attract the other manufacturers to come and do their business in India. The shift has started, but we can be the first mover, because we have got the benefit now as one of the safe country is of doing business and culturally accommodative. That's the thing, the present scenario I'm giving.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Madam.
Good evening, everyone.
So you can add how we can exploit how we can change these challenges, or we can convert these challenges into opportunities, and how we can start, exploiting the opportunities.
Sure. Thank you, Prahlad ji. Good evening, everyone. It's indeed a great privilege to be part of this August gathering and express my views on the topic, which is India's role in global logistics as a talent provider. So the topic is very relevant and transformative. Given the most populous country in the world, we really have a demographic dividend. We have the youngest workforce available with us in India, and every year, millions of candidates are adding up to this labor pool who are looking for meaningful job opportunities in India as well as overseas. So while we talk about challenges, we also have the biggest opportunity that we are demographically youngest country. Secondly, given the strong governance and the disruption in neighboring countries also makes us a strong country with a good talent pool which can be utilized by various organizations, and that is why the entire world is looking at us as the capital of human resource for various job roles. And kudos to our predecessors who have not only established themselves as good professionals, but our work ethos and our credibility, our adaptability in the fields like IT, human resource, logistics has also opened our ways and opened a path for other Indian workers to explore different parts of the world. The biggest challenge over here when we talk about overseas mobilization in the shipping and logistics industry is lack of ethical practices and an unfragmented company approach wherein the demand aggregation from different parts of the globe is not happening in a systematic manner. We do have supplies and we do have demands as well. So the biggest challenge is how best the matchmaking of this demand and supply can happen in India. And this cannot happen by the industrialist or the corporates. We need to generate an ecosystem with the support of government of India, an ecosystem wherein the industry partners, the academicians, as well as the industry partners, everybody is coming together in promoting ethical practices, skilling of Indian candidates so that this demographic pool can be trained in a more employable manner. We need to map the demands which are there and coming in from various overseas countries, and we have to provide, because training and education is not the byproduct. The byproduct of every upskilling is employment. Then only a candidate will actually come for skilling themselves. With this, I would like to...
Thank you. So the challenges, what the panel had given, the global or the global political, geopolitical issues at present is a major challenge as of now. Another challenge which is coming out through our discussion is the skill gap. What sort of the competencies or skills are required to be the global talent provider? Our people are, somewhere there are gaps in the skills. For example, a driver in supply chain, transport is the major, the backbone of the supply chain. So our drivers they may be skilled. They know how to drive a truck. So steering, the gearbox, gear, everything, they are knowing about the skill. The skill, there is a gap between skill and competency. There is a difference. So what we are doing through our hands, hand-eye coordination, this is known as a skill. The moment it is going into our head and we are making any decision, that is competency. So our drivers, they are damn good in, driving, the steering, this or that, but they are lacking somewhere in the competencies. They are not able to judge. ट्रक यहाँ से निकल जाएगी कि नहीं निकल जाएगी, इतना लोड लेके इस ब्रिज से जाएंगे कि नहीं जाएंगे, चढ़ सकता है कि नहीं, और उस वजह से बहुत सारे एक्सीडेंट्स होते हैं, बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स होते हैं. So we need to, that's only one example of drivers. Similarly, there are skills required for all the supply chain. So we will, I'll request my panel members, my fellow panelists to put some highlights on the skills, what sort of the skills are required or the competencies are required for being the global talent provider in India. Rajiv sir, we will start from you.
See, in logistics, it is a highly disintegrated sector. Means the more and more integration you bring, the efficiency increases. Who integrates the business? The large player, we say it. When you become a large player, you have a technological intervention. You have a big equipment, a specialized equipment. So whenever it comes to big equipment, a specialized equipment, the talent comes from the OEM. So those talents, you get it from the OEM, the original equipment manufacturer, they give you the specialized this thing. But at the lower end, none of the logistic player is interested in getting a specialized, skilled manpower. So there is a multiplicity of manual labor. They don't realize by deploying 4 or 5 labor for an activity which could have been delivered by one person, you are incurring 3 costs. And if you get one person with all those skills and pay him double, you save the another 2 and make, get a better job delivery. So there is a mindset problem with the employer also. Because majority of the employer doesn't have that, they think I don't have that kind of time to spend on that. And our friend was just showing us skill how to engage a contract labor. So organizing a contract labor and becoming a principal employer is okay, fine. It may be good. But if you think that by just having a contract labor, my responsibility is over, just imagine if those contract laborers stop working, whose work is going to suffer? Because right now, the biggest thing is, even if you are going to deploy through a contracting system or sourcing system, the skill set has to be defined by the employer. If you define the skill set and have a proper screening, then the skilling process will become viable. Right now, the whole skilling set, because he has the better experience, according to me, is more in quantitative in nature, less in qualitative. We are giving big numbers, but employability is becoming less. So it is the responsibility of the employer also. We should come together as an industry. We have a logistics skill council, which being a key member in 2008, 2009, I was the pioneer in putting that thing that there should be a logistics skill council. It went to CII and the headquarters is at Chennai. But I did not find after that it could not spread its wings. Means the industry partnership is less. So in order to fill up the skill gap, now I'm coming to your point, the first requirement, according to me, is onboarding of the industry on the skill forum. You come forward, give your pedagogy, what you want, and once that council provides you that skill, you should be prepared to employ them. So you give your projection for say 1 year, and after 1 year you should be ready to take at least 50% of them. That should be the proper way of filling up the skill gap in logistics sector.
Yes, Kristen sir.
So, in the earlier section, I mentioned about 3 crore people directly or indirectly employed in India's logistics sector. Let's understand what's the value and what's the contribution, what's the component of GDP that it occupies, right? We are talking about $500 billion is the size of India's logistics industry, which is almost 14% of our GDP, right? Which is much, much higher than most countries, most developed countries. Most of the G20 countries have 9 to 10% as the cost of logistics to the GDP ratio, right? In our case, it is 14%. So what it is doing, it is actually putting, one is it is jacking up the cost of production, and therefore our products and services are not becoming as much globally competitive as they should, and one reason, again, I come back to the same old thing is that, it's a very fragmented industry. There's a shortage of large players. It's very large component actually comes from, the labor force comes from unorganized and informal sector. So I think what is required to my mind, and unlike the global challenges in India, logistics industry is most certainly it's growing at about 8 to 8.5% per annum. That's the rate of growth which is happening because of multiple reasons. Government has PLI, the production linked incentives have been introduced. The government has Make in India program. It has Sagarmala program where ports are being developed. You have regional connectivity by airlines and not only for passenger traffic but also for freight traffic, right? So I think these developments are happening. Globalization has happened. GST has been a very, very key reform which is helping us. A lot of FDI norms have been reduced. In many sectors today, anywhere between 75% to 100% of FDI could belong to the foreign party. And they are incentivized to relocate their production bases to India, their supply chains to India. During COVID, we all saw how laying all eggs in the Chinese basket was a phenomenon the entire world was frightened of, right? And they wanted to relocate part of their investments, their supply chains to destinations other than China. And India has been a forerunner, in that area. And the 2 reasons to my mind that India could not tap that potential for co-location or relocation of supply chains to our country, two major reasons is that there's a huge shortage of skilled people in the country. And second is, logistics also is a very, very big area because our cost of logistics is very, very high. So I think we have to do a serious soul searching. The Gati Shakti program also is a very, very good development. So while internationally there are a lot of challenges, I'm not saying India is not prone to those challenges, but within India, you know, as the economy boosts up, we are the fastest growing major economy in the world, right? If the economy grows, you know, everything improves, everything goes up. As they say, if you double the speed, you triple the economy, right? That is what is very, very important. So I think to my mind, the biggest thing is, as he rightly says, the Logistic Sector Skill Council could not ramp up as much as it wanted. The primary reason was because for each of those 37, 38 sector skill councils, industry players have come forward, not the government. But in logistics, since there was a shortage of big organized players, so not many were prepared to take the ownership. But despite that, these 57 qualification packs and national occupation standards that they have developed, you know, those have all been done by the industry, not by the government. You know, those are the standards for training, for skilling have been set up by them. So I think this is very important that we understand, and I'll again repeat what I said earlier. It is very important for industry, you know, through a prism of timelessness, keep blaming that this is not happening, that is not happening. They have to come forward and take a far greater ownership. Otherwise, you know, we will assemble here 5 years from now with the same set of problems, with similar issues. So I think industry has to come forward, and not necessarily, you know, the big daddies of the industry. Small people, mediums, if not very small, at least medium sector industry players in logistics and big players, they have to invest. And today government allows, you know, 2% of your net profit you have to plow back into CSR, and training for the community is something that government allows that expenditure to be booked under CSR. Apprenticeship is a big opportunity where you soil your hands and learn the hard way. In Germany, 70% of the country's workforce goes through the apprenticeship route, what they call as the dual system, right? Why is it that in our case, it is less than just about 1.5% people who do apprenticeship? You know, no matter how much you get trained in a classroom and a lab kind of environment, it can never be a substitute to actually going on the shop floor, soiling your hands and learning the big way. By the way, it is for industry people sitting here, it is mandatory under the Indian law to have at least 2.5% of your workforce, and workforce of formal, informal put together, outsourced and full-time put together, you know, at least 2.5% of it. If you do not have it as apprentices at any point of time, you are on the wrong side of the law. And the beauty is, the people that you deploy as apprentice, government pays them the stipend, right? And your productivity, even while they are learning, they are productive because they are on the shop floor, right? And after that, if your recruitment requirements happen, who could be better placed than people who have been trained on your own shop floor based on your own business processes, right? So I think these are opportunities knocking your doors, right? But problem is, opportunities come and knock our doors, not as opportunities. They always come as a problem beyond solution. We think, oh, skilling is a puzzle nobody has been able to solve. But it is the total, I mean, you can do wonderful things, you know, through these government schemes, through your own CSR spend, and ensure that the remaining 1.5 crore people which will be required in the logistics industry in the next 15 years, you know, more than half of them at least are formally trained and not somehow got into the industry and learned the hard way.
Thank you, sir. So before Kanak, I request you. I just wanted to share. I am from manufacturing. I am from steel, manufacturing. So as Mr. Krishna was just mentioning, 2.5%. So in our case, we are deploying 5% of our total population as apprenticeship trainees every year, and 50% of those 2.5%, we are acquiring them after post completion of their apprentices. Every year, Jindal Stainless is hiring about 600 engineers and diploma engineers as a trainee, the freshers from the schools, and they are being deployed. They are being, permanent employment from the day one. So this is the process when a manufacturing setup can afford doing that. Why not logistics? So this is very doable, and that's how we can build our skills. Connect your perspective, please.
This skilling is a very, very relevant topic, and there are three-pronged approaches with which we can actually address this issue. Number one, the industry people will have to come, and along with industry, especially if you're talking about logistics and supply chain, then the logistics companies, shipping lines, airlines, port, and warehouse operators, they need to come up and identify a curriculum which is aligned with today's, which is very, very relevant and aligned with today's logistics industry. This syllabus we have to devise and give it to the academia and the trainee partners, that you need to train and you need to impart this kind of syllabus because this is what it is relevant. Secondly, we need to generate a system wherein our certifications are globally recognized, because many times it happens a candidate is being trained in India as a truck driver or as a warehouse operator or as a material handling equipment operator. But when the candidate goes to Europe, the candidate moves to Middle East, because it's right wheel driving in India and there it's left wheel driving. For them it's absolutely, it becomes difficult. So our skilling has to be in line with globally acceptable practices. Third, in logistics, one cannot upskill themselves in one day. It's a continuous process, even not only for the basic workforce. We're not just talking about the blue collar and the gray collar ones. Even for the white collar people, there is a continuous need to upskill ourselves, reskill ourselves, and keep on learning new things, because now we are entering into an era of logistics 3.0, where logistics 3.0, it's more systematic, more automated, more integrated, and more sustainability driven. So what we were doing 15 years or 18 years back, logistics now has absolutely evolved, and it is evolving and changing day by day. So these are the three approaches: industry aligned training, having a certification which has global recognition and global acceptance. Thirdly, continuous reskilling and upskilling is going to keep us afloat in this sector. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are coming into the end of our session. In the closing remarks, I would like to request my fellow panel members to focus on what sort of the skills, the niche skills are required for supply chain. If they can, add some value into that, which will be useful for all of us. So I will request Rajiv ji to start, then Mr. Krishna, then followed by Wing Commander, then.
The high-end skill is the continuous IT intervention. So the more and more digital framework is there, more and more efficient you are. So that one skill that every logistic company should have it and keep on upgrading. It should be a continuous development process. The second one is the hard skill at the lower end. So in that case, you should always try to have a multi-skill, one person for 3 or 4 activities minimum. This experience I have got in our larger terminal, wherever we have a container handling equipment, in layman language you call it crane. So whosoever is the crane operator, he is the maintenance staff also. When the same machine goes on maintenance, so he becomes one additional person in the maintenance team also. He should not idle. So that improves the manpower productivity. Thank you.
So I think fundamentally we have to look at, some people have a very narrow and sectarian view of logistics, that what kind of sectors should we include when it comes to skilling there. So it is all pervasive. It is all supply chain activities, transportation, customer interface, customer services, inventory management, information exchange, information flow, order processing, packaging, warehousing, material handling. All broadly these areas are to be included in skilling for the logistics sector. And whatever government or the logistics sector skill council has brought about, I think embrace that, because those are industry courses. And as I said, even if you are slightly reluctant to invest in a skilling infrastructure using your CSR funds, at least embrace apprenticeship, just wholeheartedly. This is a win-win game for all of you, right? I mean, I had the opportunity in the country before I joined the government on the behalf of the industry. I used to be with the Tata Group to architect the reforms in the Apprenticeship Act, which led to a new act of parliament in November or December 2014, right? It is a very industry-friendly act. All the provisions that the act has now have been were propagated by the industry themselves, industry players themselves, right? So embrace it shamefully, and you'll see lot of your manpower problems, workforce problem that you face will just disappear within a couple of cycles of apprenticeship itself.
So the points have mostly been covered by my fellow panelists. Yes, at this point in time, the logistics training needs to be focused in full automation, integration, sustainability driven, as well as how we can enhance, because we do not just want to be in the world or reflect in the world as a workforce provider for a blue collar. Why not we be the innovators, we be the global leaders, why not we be the industrialists who are leading various companies globally? So we just do not want to represent India as a manpower or a workforce provider for blue collar workforce. We want to be the leaders in the global workforce industry, and that can only be done while we are tapping all the facets of logistics and remain as a leading logistics player and leading talent provider for the entire globe.
A very quick one I wanted to add. So far, our discussion has focused on Indian logistics industry's manpower requirements, right? Let's not forget, it's a huge opportunity. Like in the IT-enabled services, IT services sector, software services sector, somebody in the Tata Group saw this as an opportunity by the formation of TCS. And the rest is history. Today, 50% of the entire world's IT services outsource revenue comes to India. 50% is our share, right? Similarly, you guys have to imagine that it's possible that our people become not only for our own country's requirement, but for global requirements. So we have to skill in a way not only to take care of these next 1.5 crore people will be required in next 10 years' time. You can spread your wings. India has this demographic, at the potential of demographic dividend, right? But this is not an endless window of opportunity. So I think, look at your own requirements, look at how we can improve the per capita income of our country and by them getting deployed all over the world. And, otherwise this entire dream of we become a developed nation by the year 2047 will remain a pipe dream. Unless these kind of interventions happen at a breathtaking speed in the country.
Thank you. So I would like to summarize the entire discussions what we did today. We discussed or talked about challenges ahead, being a global talent provider, India, what are the challenges to look into, and how we can convert those challenges into opportunities. And we are talking right now about the opportunities. Like Mr. Krishna just said, TCS, it was formed and today it is the largest, service provider for the global. So then we talked about the skills required. Digital and tech expertise is required, very much required. And एक चीज़ जो myth हमारा रहा है इंडस्ट्री का, मैं मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से हूँ, मुझे भी 30-35 साल हुआ, तो मैं बताता हूँ कि जो काम नहीं करते थे या कहीं फिट नहीं हो रहे हैं, ठीक है, उनको लॉजिस्टिक्स में रख दो, वहाँ पे तो गाड़ी भिजवानी है ना बाहर सामान लेके, तो कर देगा. So this was the thought process which is being changed. In manufacturing now, experts are heading logistics functions because it's not a cost. Logistics is providing a lot of value into, that's how the companies are saving a lot of money into their bottom line. So another skill is required is strategic sourcing and procurement, which is part of the SCM supply chain only. And a lot of advanced roles are there. When the technology is disrupting the entire logistics or supply chain, a lot of advanced roles are, available there. So you can send your people for higher education into Gati Shakti University, which is in Vadodara, or there are n number of avenues are available where these people can go and do courses. Industry like, the steel manufacturing, they are sending to IITs for doing MTechs in metallurgy, and they are providing a lot of help into making their steel. Similarly, the Gati Shakti or other universities can add a lot of value. Problem solving, analytical, and sort of lot of skills are such skills which are very much required today. So this is our conclusion, like you can have that advantage to upgrade your people and can provide them opportunities to being global leaders. So I would like to thank all my fellow panel members for a wonderful discussion, and this is my honor to be part of this elite panel. Thank you. If we have time on 1 or 2 minutes, then we can have some questions. Otherwise,
So we are running late, so if we can have them off stage, any questions. So would like to invite Mr. Narendra Bedi and Mr. Vikas Chawla to kindly present the mementos. So thank you to our panelists for sharing with us how the industry and also from the government side we are trying to bridge this talent gap between the industry and the academia. We thank Shri Rajiv Bhardwaj. Thanking Shri Rajiv Bhardwaj. Okay, thank you to Mr. Prahlad Chaudhary. Thanking Mr. Rajiv Bhardwaj. Thanking Mr. Jayant Krishna. And thanking Wing Commander retired Ms. Kanak Mishra.